Hey everyone, Cody from Mac Telecom Networks. If you haven't heard by now, Unifi Talk is available in the United States. It isn't available in any other region, and I'm in Canada. I won't be able to add any phone numbers, but we could look at some of the settings of Unifi Talk. I do have one of their touch phones as well. If you'd like to hire me for network consulting, visit www.mactelecomnetworks.com. You'd find us on Instagram at Mac Telecom Networks. We have a Discord channel and an Amazon storefront, and I'll put the links in the description below. First, we're going to look at the write-up by Ubiquiti on the Unifi Talk in the US, and I'll put this article below as well. We're excited to announce the official launch of Unifi Talk in the US. Unifi Talk is a full-featured, affordable, subscription-based voice-over-IP phone solution. If we scroll down a little further, it's going to talk about the Unifi subscription plan, so it's $9.99 per month per phone line. A Unifi Talk subscription includes a local phone number validated as spam-free, emergency calling with most numbers supporting E911. It gives you 3,000 combined inbound and outbound minutes per month. And you could also transfer your current phone number to Unifi Talk, which is great. So what hardware is required to use Unifi Talk? Either you need a Unifi Dream Machine Pro or a CloudKey Gen 2 Plus. In this last question, I think a lot of people are curious about, do I have to use a Unifi Talk subscription for a phone service? If you currently have a third-party SIP provider, you don't have to purchase a Unifi Talk subscription. Unifi Talk allows you to add your SIP information in the application so you can continue using your service. So that's awesome. You could use whoever you want as your SIP provider. So now let's take a look at what devices are available for Unifi Talk. So I'm on the US store right now, and we'll click on Talk. And here we can see that we have two phones that are available. So we have the Phone Touch Max, and then we have the Phone Touch. The phone I have is just the Phone Touch, but let's look at the specs of the Phone Touch Max. So it includes a 7-inch HD 1280 by 800 multi-touch screen with a 5 megapixel camera. It's Bluetooth compatible, and it's powered by 802.3 AT PoE+. It has a hands-free stereo speaker and microphone, and full voicemail functionality, including transcription. We could also view our Unifi Protect cameras on our phones, and I think that's an awesome feature. And this is managed by Unifi Talk. The phone costs $129 MSRP USD. Next is the Phone Touch, which I have, and I believe they had this before when they used to have Unifi Voice. It includes a 5-inch HD 720 by 1280 multi-touch screen and a 5 megapixel camera. It also is Bluetooth compatible and powered by 802.3 AF. It has a hands-free speaker and microphone, full voicemail functionality and including transcription. And again, we could view our Unifi Protect cameras on this phone, and I'll show you that. And then it's managed by Unifi Talk. This phone comes in two colors. You could have it in white or you could have it in black. I have the black phone. And it's $79 MSRP USD. This is what the Phone Touch looks like. On the left-hand side, we have our touchscreen, and then on the right, we have our phone handle. We have the U, and then we have a couple other buttons that we could press when it's plugged in. On the back, we have two Ethernet ports. So one is for our PoE in, and the other one we could plug our computer into. I'm going to plug this into my PoE switch, and then it will come live. Here's the dashboard for Unifi Talk, and you could do a 15-day trial with it if you have one of their phones. So at the top, we could see our internet, and the closest server is 23 milliseconds. The uptime of Unifi Talk is 41 minutes, and the SIP provider currently is Unifi Talk. We could see the total calls, which is 0. So we have outbound called, answered, unanswered, and then voicemails. We could see trial information, which mine is expired. I tried this a couple months ago when I first got the phone. And then we could see most active users, which nobody is on here because I don't have a phone number. You could see from the call logs, this was me calling myself. So it was my cell phone to my phone set. And you could see the time and then the call duration, and then we could look at view call logs. This will show us all the call logs if there is more. Next, we have our devices. The device I have is the UTP Touch, and then it's assigned to myself. There's no phone number attached because there's none available in Canada yet, and firmware version we're at is 1.2.413, and there's an update available, so we'll update. While that's updating, let's take a look at the phone. So we could have an overview of the phone. So call experience unavailable because no calls have been made. We could see the device, the assigned to, so which user it's assigned to, the phone number, the phone extension, the status, the model, the MAC address, the IP address, the device uptime, and the firmware version. We could also take a look at the call log for this phone. And then we could go to settings. So this could be device name. I'll call this Cody's phone. And we'll leave it assigned to myself, but if you needed to reassign it to somebody, all you would have to do is hit this drop-down menu, and then I have a couple other users. We could do a device update, we could reboot, and we could unmanage the phone from the controller. Next, we have users and groups. So this is where we would create our users, and we could add a user, and I'll call this user Jane and their last name Doe, and I'll give them an extension of 0005, and then we'll press save. Now we could click on that new user, and we could see their extension number. Next, we could create a group. So groups allow a single phone number to be shared across multiple phones. When a group's number is called, all phones assigned to the group will ring. You could also use a group to share a common outgoing number across multiple phones. So that's pretty cool, and we'll get deeper into the configuration when it's fully available in Canada. Next, we have our Smart Auto Attendant. We could name our Smart Attendant, and I would call it Mac Telecom Networks. And then we could press next. At this point, I'm not going to be able to go any further because I don't have a phone number, but you could tell it which greeting to say. And I'll show you that again when it's fully available in Canada. Next is our call log. So this will show us all the calls that are incoming and outgoing. And then we have our settings. Okay, now we're at the settings, and the first tab is the hold music. So we could choose from a couple different hold musics, and I'll play you the default right now. We could choose any one from this list. We could do upbeat. And when we put a customer on hold, that's the music that they will get. We could also enable or disable voicemail, and it's enabled currently. We could also enable call recording. So when we're talking to somebody on a phone call, it will be recorded. We could also do call blocking, and we could create new rules to block a specific number. Next setting is our global contacts. Right now we have no contacts, but contacts are usually people outside of your organization, such as clients and vendors. If you already have a list, you could upload a CSV or manually add contacts as well. We have numbers and subscriptions, so we could manage our numbers, purchase new numbers, or we could port numbers if we have numbers from an existing SIP provider that we want to bring over to the Unifi service. We can see my upcoming payment is 0, and then my trial ends and it's expired already. I have 0 phone numbers and the trial usage is at 0%. Under Talk subscriptions, we could purchase a number. Then we have to click to go to unifi.ui.com. And this is where you're going to purchase a phone number. Right now, the United States is the only one available. And then we could select an area code. After we select an area code, we could select available numbers and choose that and then press next. Under Talk subscriptions, we have number porting request, which I won't have any right now, so we won't do that. And then we have third-party SIP numbers. You don't have any numbers from your third-party SIP provider. You can add a new SIP provider in the system settings, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. Now let's look under port numbers. So port your phone number. Number porting allows you to transfer phone numbers that you currently own to Unifi Talk. You have 2 options for porting numbers to Unifi Talk. So the first one is port to Twilio. Transfer phone numbers from an existing Twilio account. This requires you to submit a support ticket. And the second option is to port from other providers. So transfer phone number from an existing account with other providers. This requires you to electronically sign a letter of authorization and upload a recent phone bill, dated with the latest 30 days. I don't have any of that, so we're not going to do it. Next up is our emergency calling. We have our emergency calling status and it's currently activated. I don't have any numbers, and then we have a location. So this location is very important. This will be where the phone is actually sitting. And when you dial 911, this is where the police or fire service or ambulance would show up to. So you want to make sure that's correct. Now let's see our system settings. We could look at our Talk application uptime. We could see the admin of the account. We could download a Talk support file to give to Ubiquiti if we need to. We could reset the Talk application, and we could debug logging. We could also do static signaling port. At the bottom, we would do our third-party SIP setup. We would click add third-party SIP provider and then just follow the steps. Now I'm going to bring the camera overhead to show you the phone and some of the settings of the phone and show you protect on it. This is my Unifi Talk phone. On the top, we could see the 5 megapixel camera. And then we could say it says Unifi Talk shows the time and the date. We also have 3 icons on the bottom. So this double squares and then the U and then a volume button. I'll click on the U and it's saying trial ended, but we could still make an emergency call, which we're not going to do. I'll press on the 2 squares and this will show us our different controllers on the phone. So we have Unifi Talk, we have Protect, and then we have our phone settings. Let's see Protect and see our cameras. And there you go. Now our cameras are up on our phone, which I think is an awesome feature if you're sitting at your desk and want to watch your cameras. Now let's go into the phone settings. So at the top, we have unassigned to user. So this is unassigned right now with the phone number. I could click on system and we have a bunch of different settings. So we have WAN, Bluetooth, Ethernet configuration, data usage, and then more. We could set up a VPN, we could do network settings reset, and then we could have USB Ethernet, so enable USB Ethernet adapter. Under device, we have display and sound. So our display, we could change our brightness level if we choose to. Under personal, we have security, languages and input, and backup and reset. And then under system, we have date and time, check for updates, feedback, and about the phone. So that was a quick overview of Unifi Talk. Once it's available in Canada, I will do a full setup video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. All right,